Welcome to the Quantum. This is Manal Zainuddin, and I share here with you conscious learning and being, an aspect of my approach in education. I always share Plutarch's famous saying, "The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled." Education is much beyond schooling and schoolwork. Education is never separate from us, conscious beings. Like mentioned before, the quantum concept is very complex and it has its revered scientists, but is always worth exploring and learning from those scientists because this type of knowledge embodies the core of our lives and the world we live in. However, we can understand its basics and its effect on our lives, attitudes, perspectives, and decisions. In the previous episode, we talked about how the atom was discovered and how it was first understood that inside the atom there is a nucleus that is orbited by electrons, just like planets orbiting the sun. But this model was restudied and found limited, and a new concept was brought into attention. These electrons, or in simple terms particles, move within this space around the nucleus, being at any point, any time, filling the volumes around the nucleus. This makes it look like waves or dumbbells. This is the core of the quantum, particularly quantum mechanics, probability, mathematics, problem solving. It started first with Michael Faraday, one of the greatest experimental physicists of all time, who discovered what was called electric induction. By using a battery, there was a deflection of a compass needle to one side and then to the opposite side. Without touching the needle, he could deflect it. He explained that it was caused by a magnetic field and that the changes in the magnetic field are responsible for inducing a current. And he referred to these electric charges and currents as lines of force, just like magnets, forces that pull two magnets together and forces that keep two magnets away from each other. Later he explained that electricity and magnetism are transmitted through a medium, a magnetic field. These fields are like waves. They oscillate and are always moving. So as we look at two separate magnets, seeing no connections between them, there is no empty space. There is a magnetic field. He even built on that by saying that these fields, oscillations or ripples, are actually light. They are what we see. That was later developed by two scientists, the Scottish James Maxwell and the German physicist Heinrich Hertz, who verified the existence of electromagnetic waves traveling at the speed of light, similar to what we know today as radio waves, which means light is a form of an electromagnetic wave. These magnetic fields proved almost 2 centuries later that they were not very smooth the way Faraday and Maxwell explained. These fluid waves bundle into energy. In other words, the electrons in our bodies are waves of the same field. They are not particles, but little bundles of energy. Now, this is very interesting in many ways. Point number 1, just like the idea of Faraday's electric induction, moving the compass needle without touching it, there is an invisible type of communication among all of the forces of life. This is something we either do not see or choose not to see. How many times have we overreacted, harmed someone, harmed ourselves, ignored an important situation because we did not see or chose not to see that bond or connection? Point number 2, there is a world within a world, and here is all the magic. When we think of our bodies, all we see is the outside. Limbs, head, hair, skin, but what lies beneath is a totally different, complex system of organs performing outstanding operations. For example, when we look at our hand, we see the 5 fingers, the nails, knuckles, back of the hand, bottom of the hand, and wrist. But what makes our hand move are those muscles, bones, ligaments, tendons. Just in the fingers of one hand, there are 14 bones. Anatomy can show us more about just this one hand. Point number 3, there is also a world beyond the world within. For example, the field of reflexology explains how gentle pressure on certain spots on the feet and hands can relieve stress and assist in the overall treatment of certain ailments. There are maps that specify reflex areas, and science has recently researched it, considering its non-drug nature, and stated that, quote, reflexology is effective for general well-being maintenance and treatment of chronic diseases such as strokes, musculoskeletal disorders, and stress. End quote. Point number 4. There can even be a world beyond the other three worlds. Sometimes when we go to a certain place and feel uncomfortable, even if the place has what we want, we still do not feel at ease. Even the people there might give or project this type of feeling. This is, in simple terms, energy. Our bodies are pure energy. The cellular biologist Bruce Lipton explains that an atom is like a nanotornado, a spinning force field, and this is the core of quantum mechanics. We broadcast energy. Our hands can be seen by certain practitioners to emit colors, which is known as the aura. Many people can see the aura, and there are exercises to do that. Do we know ourselves enough? We are here to think together out loud, question ourselves, question others and the world around us, but remain true to ourselves and our being on this beautiful planet Earth. Stay tuned for next time. Please share and like this content if it gives you value so that it reaches more like-minded educators. And remember, knowledge is as vast as the world. Awareness is as vast as the cosmos. And this is what we deserve. We deserve no less because we are more.